Hey guys, Josiah Martin here. Before I get started, I'd like to apologize for this right here. I actually recorded earlier. I had myself sitting down right there on the sofa. I had the tripod already. Everything was perfect. And after multiple takes of my review, I accidentally chosen the wrong file and uploaded it to the computer. It wasn't a review, and I accidentally deleted it. And since I put my tripod away and whatnot, I'm just going to do this right now like this. So, excuse me for the amateurish kind of right now. But anyway, I'm reviewing American Sniper and Imitation Game. I'm reviewing Imitation Game first because I watched it first. Now, Imitation Game stars Benedict Cumberbatch as Alan Turing. This movie is based on a true story which takes place in World War II. During this time period, the Nazis are using a code machine called Enigma. Enigma enables Nazis to use codes to relate back to each other for orders, whether it's destroying warships or taking enemy troops. And this gains them the advantage of the war. Now, everyone's tried breaking the code. They haven't been able to do it. It's nearly people consider impossible. So therefore, MI5 decides to recruit young mathematicians to try to find a way to break the code, because if they break the Enigma code, it'll help them win the war early. And so they hire other ones, including Alan Turing, who Benedict Cumberbatch plays as. Alan Turing is a young mathematician who he considers himself something of a prodigy. He has no people skills. He likes working alone. He thinks it's his way or the highway. He thinks he's smarter than everyone else. He's basically a prick, if you would call him that. Basically a kind of obnoxious prick. And so when they're tasked with cracking his code, he decides to take matters in his own hands and create a machine called Christopher. This machine will enable him to break the Enigma code and decipher it. And so basically, they're racing against the clock to stop the code, because once they solve the code, it'll help them win the war. Now, this movie is really, really emotional, because their plight and circumstance, you can see, is paying a heavy toll on the characters, because the Nazis send their code at 3 in the morning. They receive at 6. So from 6 in the morning until midnight, they have to crack the code. And if they don't crack the code, they got to scrap it all and start over again from scratch once they receive like a new code. And so basically, it pays a heavy toll on them, because every code they don't crack, more people die. More soldiers lose their lives, more civilians lose their lives. So you see this heavy toll this takes on them, because the end of the war rides on their shoulders. And it doesn't help the fact that with Benedict Cumberbatch's character, Alan Turing is so confident this machine, the Christopher, will work, that he's away from the other mathematicians. He's doing his own thing, makes a machine. When they're trying to crack the code, he creates tension among the group. They don't like him. He creates more trouble than it's worth for the group. But they all decide to band together, help him work the machine. It's just a really emotional movie. You actually see the toll it takes on the characters, the way the actors portray them. Benedict Cumberbatch does a great job as Alan Turing. I never really knew much about Alan Turing per se, so before I saw the movie, I researched in Wikipedia and other resources, and from what I can tell, Benedict Cumberbatch got his mannerisms perfectly. Alan Turing was a loner through and through. He didn't like company of people. He didn't like being around people. He preferred by himself. So he portrayed it really well. Kiera Knightley does a good job as well as Joe. When I first heard she was in the movie, I wasn't really too thrilled. I'm not a big Kiera Knightley fan. She's a decent actor, but this is probably her best performance she's done in the movie. Matthew Good, for those you have known, he played in Watchmen as Ozymandias. He did such an amazing job in this movie as well as one of the mathematicians. And then also there's Mark Strong as the MI5 agent who's in the shadows in charge of this. Good job as well. This movie was shot really well. The cinematography was beautiful in this movie. Soundtrack was exceptional. Acting was on par. Of course, Benedict Cumberbatch completely kills it as Alan Turing. Amazing job. I've been a fan of Benedict Cumberbatch ever since Sherlock. But ever since then, I've been following his career closely, and he doesn't disappoint. Every movie he doesn't disappoint. I've never really seen him in a bad performance. It seems with each performance, he gets exceptionally better and continues to amaze me in the level of depth and acting he does. So overall, a really good movie. Really, really emotional movie as well. I highly recommend it to see it. If you're curious, definitely go out to see it. I actually learned some things I didn't learn about this movie. I had no idea that the Christopher, the machine that Turing makes, I had no idea that this movie, that the machine he makes, was basically the first computer. After this, computers are modeled after Christopher. I had no idea about that, and that's, I think, a really interesting, really, that little tidbit. But overall, like I said, great movie. Go out and see it. I'm sure you'll like it. Now on to American Sniper. I've been wanting to see this movie ever since I saw the trailer for it, the first trailer. Clint Eastwood, I love him as an actor. He's one of my favorite directors. He directed great movies like Mystic River, Evictus, Gran Torino, Fights for Our Fathers, Letters to Iwo Jima. G. Edgar was a decent movie. I think to me, Hereafter was his worst movie. I never saw Jersey Boys, but I heard that movie was pretty bad. But to me, Hereafter was a disappointment. And I also like Changeling as well. Changeling was a good movie as well. So overall, he has his highs and his lows like most directors. Now, this movie, I was curious of how it was going to be. And I guess safe to say, this was a really, really high. Really, really, really like high. This movie was well done, well shot, well acted. And this movie hit me pretty hard as well. This movie deals into many things. This movie deals with many issues, like soldiers with PTSD. Also deals with the military life. This movie stars Bradley Cooper as Chris Kyle, based on a true story, by the way, in which he's a man from Texas and he joins the Navy SEALs out of a patriotic duty for his country. He sees this great evil attack our country. He wants to defend it, and not soon after he joins the Navy SEALs, that's when 9/11 occurs, and so he's sent to Iraq to protect his country. Now this movie, one of the things I liked about this movie was it didn't glorify war. A lot of war movies, especially taking place in America with American troops, can easily glorify war. Show them as like triumphant, like soldiers fighting off some great evil and vanquishing it and purging the land of all evil. I like how this movie, like Fury, like the movie Fury with Brad Pitt and Shia LaBeouf, that movie portrayed war as dirty, as grimy. There's no heroes. There's no victors. Both sides lose loved ones. Both sides get killed. Family members lose their loved ones through this war. And this movie is no different. This movie shows how war is dirty, it's ugly. And also, what I like about this movie is it shows the toll it takes on the soldiers. For instance, Chris Kyle. He slowly develops post-traumatic stress disorder due to the things he does, the things he experiences in Iraq. It affects him. It affects him. And so when he comes back home to his wife and kids, you could see how much this affects him. How much this takes a toll on him, the things he does for a country. He is not used to civilian life. He's used to being out there in Iraq, soldier, military. That's what he's used to and known for. He's not used to civilian life. So you can see how when he's at home, he's quiet, never with his family as much. He's really quiet. His wife knows there's something wrong with him, but she wants him to open up, but he doesn't. He just keeps everything in. He doesn't tell her anything. You can see the toll it takes on the family and her. It's just the movie, you know, it shows issues. It shows what our American troops go through, and it's really sad, really, that how they fight for our country, and then they come back and they haven't really left the army. They haven't left their service. In their minds, it's still out there, and you see how this could damage them, how this could affect them. It's really sad to see that how they decide to, whether they're recruited, whether they were drafted, or they went to their own free will, how the war and military life affects them. It's really, really a sad thing. Like it shows how much they sacrifice for us. And I liked this movie portrayed it perfectly, the struggles a soldier goes through during these times. This movie is really, really tense as well. Like some of the circumstances and things he does in Iraq and Afghanistan when he's over there is really, really, really tense. Like you feel your heart pumping through various moments in the movie. It's exceptionally shot. Editing is brilliant. The action scenes with the gun shootouts and whatnot is really well done. This movie is an exceptionally good movie. Clint Eastwood really outdone himself in this movie. I'm going to get sidetracked for a little bit to talk about this, though. After seeing this movie, you come to appreciate what our soldiers and what Chris Kyle does. Recently, Michael Moore made a comment about snipers, how he feels that snipers are cowards. They sitting high up in their nests, away from the battle and fight, they're looking out for themselves. He called them basically cowards. I don't know the full words of what he said, but in the short term, he called them cowards. I don't know whether he saw this movie or not, but you can see snipers do more than just stand there. They provide support for our troops. They survey the lane with their rifle. If they see enemy trying to ambush them, they take them out. Excuse me. If they notice some kind of irregular activity, they will notify the troops to warn them. They provide support. They don't just sit there and shoot at people and then people come across the crosshairs. Chris Kyle, for instance, was sitting in his nest, and if he felt like he couldn't protect the troops, he'll go down there to the ground and help them out to protect them, because he felt like he was up there, he wouldn't be much use protecting them. I don't know whether Michael Moore saw this movie or not, or he fell asleep 5 minutes in and woke up in the end and knew what the heck he was talking about, but to me that was really, after seeing this movie, seeing what our troops go through, what he went through, and you come up and say that, to me that's disrespectful and wrong. That's disrespectful. And I understand freedom of speech. Everyone has a right to say whatever they say, but think first before you say it. Be well constructed in what you say. To me, that's a really dumb, stupid statement. And you should think, Michael, before you open your mouth and say that. Because not only do you offend veterans, you offend our troops are right now in the war. Like, I'm sorry, I had to go into that. I had to say that. After seeing this movie, and this movie tugged on my heartstrings, this was a difficult movie to watch, to see the stuff he goes through. You hear these stories, but to actually see some of it. I know this is movie form, but this movie is based on a biography he helped write. So he put his input in his experience. And you see what he went through. It's hard, because I don't know what they went through. Seeing that, getting a small idea, a small fraction of what they do, it's sad to see everything they go through. How they sacrifice not only their psyche and their well-being, but everything for our country to make this country the country it is right now. And I know that there's a lot of stuff going on in America. There's some things that people like about America, whether it could be our government, the president, IRS, anything. I'm still proud to be an American. I'm proud to live in the country I am right now. Even through the ugly scars which are there. America, we're not perfect, but I'm still proud to be American. And this movie made me even more prouder to be one, after seeing what this man went through. And so, I just want to take the time to thank our troops for everything they have done for us. All the sacrifices they have done over the years to protect us, the American people. I know I'm not sure they get thanked enough for this, but I thank them for this. And I'm really proud to be American for this. Sorry for that. I had to say that. I felt like I had to say it to watch this movie. But on to the scores. Imitation Game, I'll give it an A. And American Sniper, I'll give it an A+. An A+. Now, both